Knott's Berry Farm to experience Ghost Town Alive, where you take part in the daily adventures of the Wild West. All for just 4 payments of $31.50 plus applicable taxes and fees. Go for the Gold Season Pass today at Knott's.com. Hurry, offer ends July 4th.
Every evening we listen to them talk on radio.
Don't you listen to the radio?
One of these nights.
Tonight. All right, let's hear it. Where's the radio?
One of these J-Talking nights.
J-Talking with Bradley J.
You're gonna call up Bradley J now.
Hello?
And tell him why you're right.
Hello? Who is calling? Can you hear me?
Now everybody's calling. The fever is high. This is now your chance to discourse and more.
Thank you. Trying to have a conversation.
Yeah, Jay's got his problems and he's got desires, but you got a few of your own.
WBZ News Radio 1030.
Okay, it's WBZ News Radio 1030. And did Rob Raxman happen to call, Mark? He did? He's on? Okay, good. Good. Our guest is Rob Raxman. How you doing, Rob?
Hello, Bradley.
I'm glad to hear you call. Now, Rob is an expert. First of all, you still do your Periscope broadcast or cast?
Yeah, yes,
okay.
I do, and I've just started YouTube Live, so that's kind of new.
Okay, so what Rob does is he plays the piano and talks about how we're going to be invaded and how we are being invaded by social media and forced. Or this month, what are the forces of evil cooking up against us
The
now?
forces of evil. Yeah, the forces of evil. Yes, a lot of people are confused about a certain piece of news that happened about a little bit over a month ago, and that's the fact that Congress passed a law that pretty much negates the rule of the FCC to allow the ISPs or the internet service providers to listen in on your email. So let me repeat that. So back in October, the FCC said, "Hey, ISPs, you're not allowed to sell the email information that you're collecting, the browsing history, all of the internet activity that you do. You can't sell that." So that was the rule that the FCC made in October during the last administration.
Yeah.
And then recently, Congress said, "Hell no, we're not going to have that rule. So we're going to cancel that." So that was put into law that now there will be no restrictions on the internet service providers.
So internet service provider is, for example, Comcast, Verizon, or whoever gives whoever you pay to give you your internet connection.
Right. They're like the endpoint that the last step to get to your computers to have the internet.
And now they are allowed to listen in on our conversations?
Well, that is the thing that is so incredibly misunderstood. You see, they've always been listening. Always. Since the beginning of time. They've always been listening, and so have everybody else. There's so many steps on the internet where people are listening. They're listening to your browsing history, your traffic, your requests, what websites you visit, what email you send out, and all the traffic that goes between you and whatever website you visit.
But now they can
That's
sell
always
it?
been going on.
So now they can sell it? Is that the difference?
The difference was, yes, the difference is that there was going to be a restriction. The FCC was going to have a restriction for them to disallow them from selling it. So now the people are afraid because Whoopi Goldberg went on The View and said, "Oh my gosh, they're stealing our emails. And this is such a shock." And what I want to tell you is there's no shock. They have always been doing this. nothing has changed and nothing will change. It's a matter of understanding what actually goes on the internet. And this is the part that people misunderstand. They have no idea what happens to your email. Now, I want to focus on email for a moment because that's probably the most misunderstood piece of data that each and every one of us use on a regular basis. We have no idea what happens to that. Do you?
No.
So did you know that your email is never encrypted?
No, well, I didn't know that it was never encrypted. I never thought about it. I never thought it was encrypted.
See, that's the problem. When email was invented 20-some years ago, what happened was the internet traffic has always been in plain text, meaning it's not encrypted in any form. It's readable as, alphabetic numeric characters.
Yep.
It floats on the internet, and anyone can listen in. Anyone.
Yeah.
And what's happened is that the government knows this, so the government has always been collecting these emails. What do you think they do at the National Security Agency? You don't think they collect all this?
If you tell me they do, I believe you.
Well, I'm guaranteed that they do. And if you understand how the internet works, you go to your ISP, right? So you connect to the internet from your ISP.
Yes.
So from your internet service provider. Do you know what happens after it goes to your ISP?
No.
So what happens is these ISPs then connect to the fiber optic trunks. One of the biggest providers of fiber optic trunks on the internet in the world is a company called Level 3. So it's like it goes from your electrical signals and turns into optics, and it crisscrosses the country and internationally on these fiber optic lines.
And those guys can also listen in, right?
The problem is that a company like Level 3 has 90% of the internet traffic in the world. One company. 90% of the traffic flows through them. So can you imagine if you're the National Security Agency and you say, okay, let's just put some little listening posts at various entry points of the fiber optic trunks, and let's listen in. And let's capture all the plain text data coming through. And of course, everything is in plain text, so it's quite readable. Any kind of junior cyber security guy knows something about a piece of software called a sniffer. Have you ever heard of a sniffer? It's called a IP sniffer, like one of the programs they use called Wireshark.
Okay, sniffer.
And what happens is you plug that in into any part of the internet, and you can listen to all the traffic that goes through there. For example, if I were in your company, let's say I work at WBZ.
Yeah.
I can put a sniffer on your router at WBZ and capture all of the emails.
Okay, and so the ISPs, they can get our emails. The Level 3 can get it.
Yes, they do.
Level 3 can also get it because it transfers over their fiber optic lines. And they can
anyone in between.
And when you say listen, I think people get the idea. Some dude listening, and then you say there's so many emails, no dudes actually listening. But what they do is they look for certain words and then use that against you or for you.
I think it's actually, I believe it's more about mass collecting. They just collect all of it. And
what do they do with it?
This is one of the things. It's very interesting. If you know what's in the email, it will reveal a lot. I'm going to give you kind of a scenario of what actually one can do with it. It's a very good piece of, kind of anatomy of what happens. And at the end of this, hopefully we'll talk about how to prevent or protect yourself.
Okay. Let's take a break, and we will find about the anatomy of what happens after they've collected your emails on WBZ. Thanks. Hang in there. Rob.
What are you talking about?
Bradley J.
I'm stepping out with my Bradley. Got Jay talking on.
Jay talking.
Lock 10:30 on the Bradley BZ. Radio, all right.
WBZ News Radio 10.
Really? I'm just a regular guy. Kidding. I'm spectacular.
Actor John Stamos is spectacular, and so is Spectrum. Get Spectrum TV, internet, and voice for $29.99 a month each, with our 30-day money-back guarantee and no contracts.
It's WBZ News Radio 1030. You have any questions about your internet security? I know a lot of you don't have a computer, partly because of this, just because of this. I don't know if it's because of this or you use it as an excuse not to get one. Doesn't matter. You may have questions about how legitimate and immediate the risk is to you. What happens? Maybe you'd like to understand a little more about how using the internet can be something that will come back to haunt you. So, we've talked about how they get the information, who gets it. Now we're going to talk about what they do with it. And we have Rob Braxman. Rob, what's your Periscope broadcast called?
It's Rob Music. That's my my handle.
Okay.
So I'm known on Periscope as Rob Music, and I'm referred to as a gold VIP broadcaster because I'm one of the top broadcasters
Good for
on
you.
the platform.
Good for you. So, I'll pick up where we left off.
Yes. So one of the interesting things you have to think about is what actually is in an email. Because to you, a user, what are you thinking about when you have the email? You're putting the two party, meaning who you're sending it to, right?
Yep.
And maybe a CC to see, who else it's being sent to. And typically on the to field, you put your real name, correct?
Yeah.
Pretty typically, right?
Yep.
And then you have the email address. The email address often has a real name too. Not all the time, but in a large proportion of people, they use their full name on the email address. Like John Smith or.
Yeah, I don't, but I know what you mean.
A lot of people do.
Yep.
A lot of people do, right? And then you put the subject line, and you put whatever the topic is, and then you have what is called the body, where you put whatever it is you want to talk about, correct? So and then sometimes you have attachments. You attach a PDF file, an MP3 file, or whatever, correct?
Yes.
So that's the usual thing we understand about email.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more in there. The actual email is transmitted over the internet with a part at the top called a header. So an email is actually broken up in two parts, and one part is called the header, and the other part is called the body. So the body is the text of your actual message.
Yeah.
and the header is actually not just the to and the from. I'll tell you what's on there. For example, it has the sender's IP address.
Okay.
So it knows exactly which computer you use and where you can be located.
Uh-oh. That means they can get into your computer and do other stuff.
Exactly, because they have your actual IP address. They also know the pathway. They know how it got from your computer to the server, because it actually shows all the servers in between. They'll know who your ISP is and everything else in the chain. So one of the things that is very interesting about that is then is the IP address of the sender is the critical piece of information here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to make sense a little later when we theorize what happens to somebody who intercepts the email. We'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
Now what happens then is the email then floats to the internet, captured at the other end, and the other end says, "Oh, I got the IP address of the sender, and I also have the real name of the sender." And you say, "Well, that's you got my name, you got my IP, but that's all you got. So that's not much." Well, let's talk about what's in your actual email. Do you use Amazon, Bradley?
Yeah, I sure do.
Okay. Well, this is something interesting about Amazon. If you order from Amazon, they send you an email confirmation all the time.
Okay.
So if you order bras and panties from Amazon, including the size and color, they will email you back saying, "Yep, this is your order. You ordered such bras and panties."
Yeah, I'm trying to cut back on the bra and panties orders. But still, I get the point.
Yeah, and not only that, look at the email from Amazon. They actually have your full name, your address, your phone number, the order. The only thing missing is they didn't put your credit card number on it, but it has a lot of stuff on it identifying you.
Yeah.
And if you're actually Gmail, let's say your Amazon account is actually tied to Gmail, that means Google has access to everything you've ever purchased from
How would
Amazon.
it be when you say tied to? How do you mean?
Because if you're meaning if your account, when you go to Amazon, you have to set up a email account.
Yeah, right. Yes.
What if your email account is Gmail?
Yeah.
Then you've actually said to Amazon, to Gmail, "Oh, Gmail, I don't want just Amazon to know what I ordered. I want you, Google, to know everything I ordered as well, including where I live exactly, what my real name is, and all that."
Yeah.
So now Google has the information, and obviously everyone in between, including the National Security Agency and any number of spies, the ISPs, and anyone who wants to listen in, can now capture all of your purchase from Amazon.com.
Yeah.
And your full name, your address, tied to your email address, and guess what? Sorted by your IP address.
Yeah.
All I have to do now is say, I want to find out about somebody. All I have to do is get an IP address on you, and now I can do a lookup and say, okay, from this IP address, the following things emanated from it. And you can look at emails and other kind of traffic. But let's just stick into email here.
So I want to recap.
Yeah.
So both, if you use Amazon and it's tied to your Gmail account, that means that all those people at Google and all those people at Amazon have access to your IP number, which means they can really look at everything else in your computer.
Well, yes. Well, they don't need to look at everything in your computer. They can look at everything that's ever done by your computer.
Okay.
They don't have to look in the computer. They have a record of everything that goes on. So they can find out what other websites was visited by this particular computer at this IP address.
So they could look at the pictures on my computer. They could listen to the songs on my computer.
No, they're not going to go into your computer unless they're going to hack it.
But they could. They could, right?
They could.
Is that illegal?
They already know where you're going on the internet because they know all the URLs or the links that you're going to on the internet, everything you've ever clicked.
Yeah.
Every website you visited, everything you posted on Facebook, everything you posted on Twitter, everything you posted on every thing that you've ordered, research on your health data, everything that you've ever done.
Back to health. Every search on health data.
Yes.
So that's kind of sad because a guy like me, I have to do research for 3 hours a night on topics. And if I have some sort of doctor in, I need to find out about that stuff. And if I'm using my computer and searching that stuff, they assume that I have whatever disease I'm looking up.
Obviously, that's even.
But yes.
Yes, of course.
The answer is yes.
Not just health, but anything else that you do. Let's say you were interviewing somebody on, some, something nefarious, and you wanted to research it. Then yes, it shows up under your name. So let's say you're trying to say, well, I want to research the NSA and see what they're up to. So I'm going to go research Snowden and all these, kinds of information about cybersecurity and mass surveillance and all that. Then it looks like you're doing it.
Huh.
So this is the kind of loss of privacy that happens that you already know about. But what is kind of worse about this is the fact that we have been doing this email thing, many of us, for 20-some years, and they have enough data on us to just kill us.
So,
I mean, my goodness, 20-some years of data.
I want to back up. So now, if say someone hacked Google, hacked Amazon, and got access to your IP address, then they could look at everything in your computer. If they're not bound by the law because they're nefarious.
Well, and neither the security agency is bound by that. They can look at anything they want. They just don't need to acknowledge it.
Right.
So one of the things that is often said, and you get seen this on the news, you'll see somebody like the National Security Agency will say, we don't look at the data of American citizens or Americans unless we have some sort of connection with something.
Yeah, but I don't trust the government. I mean, you really, really don't trust them, and I kind of don't trust them.
Well, I don't trust them at all because here's the fact. They collect everything. The only excuse they have is to say, well, we didn't look at it. We didn't look at it. So, but they collect everything, and they have a central repository of all this. And we didn't look at it, so therefore we didn't, go beyond the law here.
Okay.
But it's incredible what they can do.
So next step is to find out how this can hurt me, because we haven't really talked about that. We've talked about how they get our information, but we really haven't talked about what. And so after we take a break and actually take a couple calls, then that will be the next thing. And you can go into
plus the safety, how to prevent.
Oh, yes, right. So that's two things to look forward to here at WBZ News Radio 1030 on a Friday morning. I don't know why it means so much, this Friday thing, but it sure does, doesn't it? 617-254-1030. What do you think? Are we being paranoid? Is Rob being extra paranoid and I just kind of paranoid? Or does this stuff matter? It's WBZ.
CBS News Update. President Trump says the bottom line is that it was a bad deal for the United States and its economy.
The agreement is a massive redistribution of United States wealth to other countries.
The president announcing he's initiated the withdrawal of the United States from that 2015 Paris Climate Accord.
I was elected to represent the citizens of Pittsburgh, not Paris.
But there are plenty of people opposed to the U.S. withdrawal from that pact. Environmentalists, U.S. city leaders, including Pittsburgh's Democratic Mayor Bill Peduto.
I was there in Paris. I was one of 500 mayors from around the world in understanding the importance that cities play in being able to deal with the reality of climate change.
Peduto says his city will continue to follow the guidelines of the Paris Agreement. CBS News Update. I'm Jim Chenevey.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
To learn more about our programs and to donate, go to carsforkids.com. That's Cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll also get a vacation voucher and maximum tax deduction.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Also accepting boats, motorcycles, RVs, and real estate donations.
Hello, Phone Force?
In your car, 254-4400. On the road, see a backup, call it. Reprogram your phone, 617-254-4400.
Phone Force?
Report an accident. WBZ Phone Force. Call it. Phone Force. Follow us on Twitter at WBZ Traffic.
Don't you listen to the weather?
How's the weather down there?
I need some time to discuss the weather.
This weather?
Please tell me, Bradley James.
Get right to your calls after this. We had a pretty, now we're down to 60, probably get to 59. Today, up to 70. You might get a couple of showers. Saturday, no showers, 66. Sunday, some drizzle, 68. So that's 70, 66, and 68. I'm optimistic. Let's go to our calls first. We're with Rob Braxman, who is an internet security expert and much more. Rob, let's say hi to either Angel or Angel. I know one of each. How you doing?
Okay.
Hi.
Angel is fine.
Okay. Hi, Angel.
Hi.
Hello.
Go ahead,
Hi, I have a question for you, Rob.
Okay.
I heard on Oprah that a VPN, a virtual private network, is important to have, but then I heard that if I sign in, it makes the virtual private network useless. How does the protection from the virtual private network work?
I'm going to have him ask.
How would I use it?
Okay, how does it work? Well, what is it? How does it work? How do you use it? And Angel, we have a bad connection, so I'm going to ask you to listen through the radio. So VPN, Rob.
Okay, well, fortunately, that is exactly going to be one of the solutions that we're going to talk about is the VPN. It's very, very important, and people don't necessarily understand what it's for. So remember what I said about the header of an email?
Yes.
And one of the things that's in the header is your IP address. And one of the things that they can use to sort your email is first sorted by the name in the header, which, it's one of the other things you need to worry about.
Yeah.
Perhaps not use your real name on the email. And second is to somehow not show your IP address when you send. The issue is when you send. It's not when you receive. Receiving email doesn't emit any data. It's when you send it.
Uh-huh.
So you, as the sender, you're in the most dangerous mode. I would never think of sending email without a VPN on or virtual private network.
Virtual, we need to make sure we explain what that is because that's going to...
Yeah, we will slow it down. Virtual private network or VPN for short. Do you use an antivirus, Bradley?
A what?
Antivirus for your computer?
I don't think so. I don't really understand what you mean.
Antivirus software. Do you use one on your computer?
Empire Biter?
No, antivirus.
Oh. I use the Empire Biter. Yeah. Do I? No. I'm one of those people that feels inordinately secure because I have a Mac.
Right. So if you're on a PC, you wouldn't ever think of using your PC without an antivirus.
Right.
Because you're going to get hacked in no time.
Yes.
No time.
Hacked or actually hacked or virused?
Yeah, actually hacked.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually hacked. They'll put ransomware on there and, lock up your computer, take your data, do anything else if you don't have an antivirus.
Tell them what ransomware is.
Ransomware is when somebody encrypts your data on your hard drive and says, we will decrypt it for a price. That actually happened a few weeks ago. One of the biggest attacks ever of ransomware that ever occurred in the history of the internet happened just recently. And they were asking for, billions and billions of dollars to, well, not billions, but they were asking for a lot of money from each user to undo the encryption, because they will just auto-encrypt your data, and if you don't give them money in Bitcoin, they will actually not give you a key. So you basically lose your data.
So how much do they charge?
I can't remember right now. It's like, some
$500.
It's in Bitcoin. So it's a lot. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. So they'll say, yeah, you pay us this and we'll give you the key. And if you don't, then that's it.
All your information, they hold it hostage, they encrypt it. And unless you pay money, you never get it back. Question, what if you back up on an external hard drive that's unconnected? Is that a good plan?
Correct, yeah. If you have a backup that's not connected, then you say, who cares?
Yeah,
I'll just
good.
restore, and we won't worry about it unless you have a copy of the virus in it. So that's why you always have an antivirus in your computer to prevent that kind of thing from happening, right?
Do I need one in a Mac?
Yes, because a Mac is not 100% secure, but it's rare.
Why is it rare, by the way? Why do they pick on PCs? Is it just because if you're going to write ransomware, you might as well write it for, the most computers? Is that it?
Correct. It is. And also it's the way that the security is built onto Windows. There's many, many tricks in Windows that you don't have on a Mac.
Okay.
And Microsoft wants, like nice little handy little tricks in there so you can be productive. Well, those productive little tricks cause a lot of problems. Huh. But anyway, back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
If you have a antivirus and you think that's enough, well, the new trend now is you can't just have an antivirus. You also need a virtual private network. So those are the two things you need on your computer from now on. And this, by the way, applies to your Mac as well. You need a virtual private network.
VPN, virtual private network. And we need to explain what that is again.
So basically, it's a piece of software that you put on your computer. And you can buy it for, between $40 to $80 a year, typically. And you can use it on many computers in your house. So just one purchase will get you to multiple devices. And what happens then is it actually encrypts the first leg between you and the VPN, a virtual private network server. So what happens is the first leg is encrypted. Your ISP cannot see, your internet service provider cannot see your traffic.
That's cool.
Traffic.
Does it slow things down?
No. If you get a good VPN, from a good company, it is not slow at all. I get typically like 50 megabits on mine.
Okay, and now, do I have to use the interface of this VPN, or do I get to use what I'm used to?
No, there's nothing to do. You basically load the software, and it inserts itself between you and your internet connection.
So when I still see Chrome, I still
don't see anything.
I still see everything like I saw before. I don't see some weird, generic, weird interface.
That's correct. You see nothing different. And then what happens is your traffic is encrypted from that first leg. Well, what happens, that's actually very important, especially with email, because since they don't know where the email came from, they cannot search your email by IP address. So,
I dig that.
Thousands of people use the same VPN.
What's the best VPN?
You want me to actually recommend one?
You wrote one yourself, right?
No, I don't. You don't have to. There are many open source VPNs out there, and open source meaning you can build your own. But I don't recommend that. I don't recommend you build your own. You know why? Because it identifies you. You better mix it up with the rest of us.
Okay. So
use a public VPN. I kind of like a VPN. One of my favorites is the one I always recommend is privateinternetaccess.com.
PrivateInternetAccess.com. You go there.
That's one I use a lot.
You pay your money, you install it, and all of a sudden, everything looks the same to you, but your ISP, Internet Service Provider, cannot see.
Right, and not only that, the anybody else after that, for example, let's say the government or anybody else who, even a foreign government, and anyone else after that leg that wants to spy on your traffic doesn't really know where the traffic is coming from.
Okay, so that works when you're browsing and all. Does it also encrypt or hide in any way your emails?
Yes, well, it doesn't encrypt your email after the VPN, because the VPN is what is called a proxy, meaning it acts like you. So the VPN, let's say that you're in Boston and you said, I'm going to connect to VPN in Las Vegas. So then your traffic goes through Las Vegas first, and then from Las Vegas it goes wherever it wants to go, wherever you're going. So they think you're in Las Vegas.
I don't have to make that decision. So when you say connect with another VPN,
you can choose which city you're connecting to.
Oh, that's one of the parts of it when you install
For
it.
example, you can say today I'm browsing from Denmark. Tomorrow I'm browsing from France. And then the next day I'm browsing from San Francisco. So it's a way to. You don't have to. You can.
So does this company have servers set up in all these places?
They have this particular company has 5,000-6,000 servers.
And every day you just choose a server?
I don't. I'll stick to a few because I like the faster ones. So I look at the ones that are faster.
How can you tell?
You try it out. Usually the big cities.
Well, I'm just going to have you email me the answer to that on the side.
Yes. So anyway, what happens is when you use a VPN, the email itself no longer has your IP address. So now, of course, your secondary problem, even though the VPN really hid your IP address, is your name on it.
Yeah.
Your name's still on it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So what you do is to start planning this out for the long run, you start splitting your email into different kinds. For example, for your junk mail, because it doesn't matter what you receive; it's about what you're sending.
Yeah,
the sending that's the issue. So if you're going to be sending to work, maybe that requires you to use your real name. Well, maybe for your personal stuff you don't. Maybe for your Amazon you don't. Maybe for your anything else you don't.
Yeah.
Maybe for logging into Facebook you don't. Maybe for logging into Twitter you don't. You make all these kinds of decisions so that your email itself doesn't have a lot of data. Don't put your signature in the bottom on your personal email, for example, and say, there's my name, my phone number. Don't do that. The less information you have on the email, remember, it's a postcard.
So it seems like it's a smart idea if you're just now getting involved in this whole thing. And anytime you create a new email address, don't use your real name.
Both in the name and in the actual address itself, yes.
Right.
You use something obscure or a first name and a bunch of whatever.
Right.
First name
or like your first name and some verb like Bradley Rules or Bradley Speeds.
Yeah, sure. Or, I'm American, whatever. It doesn't matter, yes. And then what you should also do, just to confuse the issue, is when you go on social media, don't mix them up. You use different ones for business, use different ones for social media.
Okay, I'm going to break.
With your real names.
This is really good hour. Thank you, Rob. I'm going to break, take a couple calls, and it's WBZ.
JJ. Bradley J.
JJ talking J.
J talking with Bradley J. WBZ News Radio 10.
With summer right around the corner, keeping your home the ideal temperature can be a struggle, but it doesn't have to be. An easy way to regulate temperature without turning on the AC is updating your window treatments. Enjoy your summer and call a pro. At 3 Day Blinds, we've got thousands of different options to choose from. Of those options, we have many styles that are energy efficient and can help you save money on your electric bill. Whatever the reason may be, we've got you covered. The process is simple, and we come to you. That's right, we come to you. Our locally based design consultants are ready to help you find the right look for your windows. We're with you every step of the way. We design, we measure, we install, and you relax. It's easy. Simply call 866-800-2964 and schedule your free in-home consultation. That number again, 866-800-2964. 866-800-2964. Don't wait. Call today.
Is it possible to push the limits of performance and technology? With the first ever 2017 Cadillac CT6 plug-in hybrid, the only question is how far? The CT6 plug-in offers features like advanced park assist for parallel and perpendicular parking, rear seat infotainment with retractable 10-inch HD screens, adaptive cruise control, and more. Experience the CT6 plug-in hybrid during Cadillac Spring's Best. Visit your local Cadillac dealer.
When's the last time you thought happy thoughts about your Wi-Fi? Most of us have not so happy Wi-Fi thoughts, like I never have Wi-Fi in the kitchen, or I have to reset the router again. TP-Link's Deco M5 creates fast, reliable Wi-Fi in every room of your home. And Deco has the best security of any whole home Wi-Fi system, so you and your family only have happy Wi-Fi thoughts. Visit Amazon.com/TP-Link and use promo code 50radio for $50 off at checkout.
We, the entertainment-loving people, demand the best unlimited wireless plan ever from AT&T.
I thought I raised you better than to make demands like that.
You know what? We want even more than that. We want AT&T to give us unlimited entertainment.
What else do you want, a flying car?
Well, maybe HBO included in our plan.
How about a unicorn?
And we want to watch all our favorite shows without paying overages.
Good luck with that.
And we want all of this, plus we want to save $25 on our monthly DirecTV bill.
But you can save me $25?
Well, yeah.
I'm proud of you, son.
Only AT&T offers you unlimited data with HBO included and never pay overages. Visit your local AT&T store and get AT&T Unlimited Plus, our best wireless deal on unlimited data. Plus, save $25 per month on DirecTV. It's entertainment your way.
After 22 gigabytes of data usage, AT&T may slow speeds. Plan includes Stream Saver, and videos will stream in standard definition unless you turn it off. $25 DirecTV savings requires AT&T Unlimited Plus. Credits start within 3 bills. Service prices subject to change. Other usage, speed, fees, charges, and restrictions apply. See att.com/unlimited for details.
From what sound was that? Listen.
Jay talking, Jay talking, Jay talking. I want to hear my Jay talking, Jay talking, Jay talking. I want to hear my Jay talking. I want to call up now.
Jay Talking with Bradley J. WBZ News Radio 1030.
We're talking cybersecurity, security when you're online shopping, security with your email. We have David in Dorchester. Hi, David. Hi, David. In Dorchester, you're on WBZ.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Say hi to Rob, our expert.
Rob, how are you?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. I was wondering, do you think this is possible, Rob? That, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Nope.
Okay, I want to know.
So that didn't work out. Sounded to me like you were still on the speakerphone or you didn't have your radio turned down. You got to follow Mark's instructions. We're going to go to Peter in Weymouth. How you doing, Peter?
I'm doing very well. Bradley, this is and Rob. Very. Hello, Peter. Hello. Yeah. So this is a discussion that's it has so many different angles to it. And what was your intro, Bradley, about paranoia or something?
I wanted to know if we're being paranoid or not.
Right. So what percentage of this country, individuals sending emails, would be concerned about data surveillance, government surveillance, or something like that? I would imagine it's infinitesimal, correct?
No, incorrect. That is quite incorrect. No, that is quite incorrect. I would say it's 100%. There's the problem. The problem is from multiple parties extracting this information. Many parties, not one.
Sure, but it's not like mom. Like my grandmother's emails are being read by an individual, right?
You would be surprised what this is used for. We haven't even actually gotten to all the dangers of this. But just to name you a few issues that you need to be concerned about as more direct. One of them is this is a big source of identity theft.
Well, absolutely. That would be paramount. Absolutely. And wasn't the recent there's a new Senate bill going forward that the Googles of the world can't share this information. They actually have to ask us.
No, that's not correct. ISPs or internet service providers were supposed to be stopped from sharing it, which they're not now. But Google and Facebook were never banned from ever sharing it. They can do whatever they want. They're not bound by this. Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, all of them, they're not bound by this. They can all read your emails, extract all they want because they're giving it to you for free.
And there's a bill, and recently, Rob, I just read it in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, I believe, it's before the Senate, that's going to require them to ask us for permission to do that, because that's so outrageous, right?
No, that was canceled out by Congress. So that was signed into law that they will not ban anyone from doing that. So
no, and I'm suggesting this is new legislation. This legislation is right there now, right now. Yeah. So, which is very important. I'm right. And so, let me just suggest, I'm a former whistleblower. I can't tell you how pertinent your information is. I learned it as a layperson, right? There's two types of surveillance, covert and overt, right?
Yeah.
And so overt makes you let you be known that you're under, the auspices or the surveillance of government. So I think here's the flip side though too, Rob. Right? So think of, and I was in the securities business. Think of like one of the best things that happened to like insider trading, but the SEC. So that's what I'm all about. Has all these algorithms that can point to insider trading. Very timely trades, taking advantage of market movement that could or would only be known by insider information. But say like Snapchat or whatever, where your text disappears, boom, go on that, boom. It's crazy. But then also think about the terrorist world that we live in, right? So is this surveillance, what's the protection that we're getting versus the liberties we're losing, right?
Correct. These are very, very good points, and I discuss this all the time. And they're complex issues in a lot of ways, but let me just say this. Knowing what the techniques are available to the government for surveillance, and I'm talking about overt surveillance versus what you say is not really covert. What you're talking about is called mass surveillance. So the mass surveillance continues. And mass surveillance, by the way, is not just done by governments. It's done by your ISP. It's done by Google. It's done by Facebook. It's done by Microsoft. It's done by Yahoo and all these different companies. The mass surveillance is a collection of all of everyone's data that causes us to lose privacy. And in addition to the mass surveillance of the private parties and the government, then you got the nefarious folks of hackers in the middle that take all this data to sift out identity information and all that. Okay, so that's a threat factor for mass surveillance. Now, when you're talking about overt or being spied on directly by entities like, for example, did you know about Rule 41 from the FBI?
Yes, I did.
So Rule 41, which was approved right at the tail end of the Obama administration, pretty much justifies that the FBI can hack anyone they wish to hack as long as you use encryption, without any kind of big to-do about getting a warrant, because they can get a warrant from any judge in the United States.
Right.
So what this allows them to do is spy on everyone overtly. And one of the things that you can do to utilize this is very simple. Let's say that you generated some traffic in social media that they're very suspicious about. This can be used for good things and bad things, let me tell you. Let's say that you made a statement that maybe, may lead to some criminal kind of activity. What happens is that they can go and say, okay, now I've seen this comment on the internet, and now we have an IP address. And all I have to do now is do a lookup and see what kind of traffic emanated from this IP address, and then you can find everyone's information, their full name, their physical address, their purchases on Amazon, like I mentioned, their accounting data, because all the traffic that's been passed between them and their accountant, on and on and on. I mean, over a 20-year period, their letters to their girlfriends and so on. I mean, it's actually kind of an incredible piece of information when you look at it for a long period of time.
I hear you clearly, but also, isn't it that the flip side is they could gather information in stopping the next 9/11?
Well, here's the thing. Are you familiar with Silk Road, the guy, Ulbricht, the guy who ran Silk Road in the dark web, and how he was arrested by the FBI? And
yeah, you know something. I've cursorily.
We only have 30 seconds before the break, so can you answer that thing quickly?
So what happens is they are able to get information about somebody like Ulbricht because they have other pieces of information that's not available to us.
Right.
And they have a global view of the internet, and that is why they can find anyone they want to. There's really no escape. They can find anyone.
We got to have to break now, and thank you very much, Peter. Appreciate it, and he calls from time to time. There are two more people on hold. Rob, if you want to hold, you can answer their question. If you don't, I get it, and I'll try to deal with it. What do you want to do? Just long enough to talk to these two people.
For a little bit, yeah.
All right, these two folks.
I'll hang on for.
All right. And if there's, I don't know if you're on a speakerphone, Rob, or if there's anything you can do to enhance the quality of the transmission, but if there is anything, go ahead and do it during the break. There's something a little off about it. 617-254-1030 is our number, and we will continue here at WBZ with Rob, answer those questions. Then we'll get back to your passion, which we dabbled with for a while, and it was very interesting. Collecting, sports, photography, whatever. And there you go. It's WBZ.
Going to Girl Scout Camp is a treasured chance to get out and explore the delights of nature and make friendships that will last a lifetime. Girl Scouts of Eastern Massachusetts offer a variety of camp options for every interest and is available for all girls grades 1 through 12. For more information on camp, visit hercamp.org or call 617-350-8335.
WBZ and HD, WBZ FM HD3 Boston, and CBSBoston.com. This is WBZ News Radio 1030. The News Watch never stops. The News Watch never stops.
CBS News, I'm Jim Shenevy. President Trump taking a lot of heat from environmentalists and world leaders over his decision to pull the United States out of the Paris Climate Accord.
As someone who cares deeply about the environment, which I do, I cannot in good conscience support a deal that punishes the United States.
Mr. Trump says the U.S. would pay a high price under the accord while other nations would benefit. He called it income redistribution. Correspondent Weijia Jiang.
World leaders who support the 2015 agreement voiced opposition, with France, Germany, and Italy saying it cannot be renegotiated.
We all share the same responsibility. Make our planet great again.
Even the Trump team was divided on the Paris Accord, with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and the president's daughter Ivanka opposing the withdrawal. EPA Chief Scott Pruitt lobbied the president to get out of the agreement.
All voices were heard, and the president made a very informed, I think, and meaningful decision.
Weijia Jiang, CBS News, the White House.
In a late-night filing, the Justice Department asked the Supreme Court to reinstate the president's travel ban on 6 mostly Muslim nations, charging that the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals in Virginia made mistakes in ruling that the policy intended to bar Muslims from this country. St. Mary's College politics professor Stephen Wolperts.
The fact that it's already been several months that this ban has been on hold, and so to make a case that there is a national emergency that requires that it be reinstated now is going to be, I think, a difficult one to make.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has repeatedly denied his government was involved in any cyber attempts to disrupt the U.S. presidential election. But for the first time, he admits others in Russia may have. More from reporter Alex Loon in Moscow.
Vladimir Putin said the Russian government was not behind cyber attacks on Western elections. But he didn't completely deny U.S. claims that Russian hackers meddled in the presidential vote. Instead, Putin said patriotic hackers could take it upon themselves to avenge Russia, comparing them to free-spirited artists inspired to paint a canvas.
The death toll stands at 2 from that explosion that rocked a Columbia County, Wisconsin corn mill. Sheriff Dennis Richards.
As of when we're sitting here right now, we have no idea what caused this explosion.
The plant had been warned in the past it wasn't doing enough to prevent dust explosions. Game 1 of the NBA Finals goes to the Golden State Warriors, 113-91 over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Steve Futterman is in Oakland.
This was an absolutely dominating performance by the Warriors. Golden State led by 8 at halftime, then completely controlled the game in the second half. Leading the way for the Warriors were Kevin Durant with 38 points and Steph Curry with 28. LeBron James also had 28 for the Cavaliers, but it was not nearly enough.
This is CBS News.
Okay, Kevin, for the WBZ News Time, 3:03. The Subaru retailers of New England all-wheel drive traffic on the 3s.
Checking the ride first off south of town, 128 north and southbound. Watch out for left lane closures right by Highland Ave and Needham. They're also blocking the ramp from Route 24 northbound to 128 north and Randolph with some road work. Watch out for crews as well. 24 southbound through the Raynham area and along Route 495 north and southbound right near Route 195. Downtown, the right travel lane is shut down on Route 93 southbound through the O'Neill Tunnel, and so is the off-ramp to Purchase Street. 93 northbound, the ramp to Stero Drive closed down for some work. Then we have the Sumner Tunnel down to one travel lane, and they're working in both directions over at the Ted Williams Tunnel. Mass Pike, eastbound and westbound, only minor slowdowns around that work out in the Grafton area. There's also work going on in Alston and down around Commonwealth Avenue. And we have work crews in both directions on Route 84 back in Sturbridge, right near the Mass Pike. And then north of the city, 128 southbound ramp to Route 3 northbound. That is blocked off for overnight work, and work continues along Route 185 in both directions through Andover and Lawrence. If you see a delay on the highways, please call the WBZ phone for us, 617-254-4400. Joe Stapleton, WBZ 24-hour traffic network.
Here's the 4-day WBZ AccuWeather forecast.
Under a mostly clear sky overnight, it'll be breezy and cool. The low 48 in a few western suburbs, but a bit closer to 55 in downtown Boston. On Friday, sunshine will mix with clouds. It'll also be breezy, a couple of showers around, especially during the afternoon and evening. Friday's high around 70. Then for the rest of Friday night, breezy with some clouds, low 53. Saturday, changing amounts of clouds and sun, the high 66. Sunday, mostly cloudy. Rain is expected, especially later in the day and at night. Sunday's high 68. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Carl Bobinski, WBZ News Radio 1030.
I'm Don Huff, WBZ News. Governor Charlie Baker calls disappointing the president's decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh says he'll work with other cities to uphold the agreement.
We're either with 190 countries and looking at global warming and climate change in the United States of America, or we're going to in a very elite crowd of 2 other countries, Nicaragua and Syria. I think right there alone should tell us where we ought to be.
In Woburn, temporary repairs made after a breach at the Horn Pond Dam caused some street flooding. Mayor Scott Galvin.
There is no danger to anybody on the other side of the river. The water's flowing fine, and really it's just a precaution, that's all.
Permanent repairs are expected today. In Lowell, a surprise vote from the Board of Health to shut down Lowell High School to repair safety violations. Board member Dr. John Donovan. Elevated pedestrian walkway. There's a broken conduit pinching wires and water entering. City Manager Kevin Murphy says the Board of Health does not have the authority to take such an action and vows to keep the school open.
Everybody in city government, including the fire chief, the buildings department, and the school department, feel that it is safe.
In sports, the Orioles beat the Red Sox 7-5. Don Huff, WBZ News Radio 1030.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids.
Donate your car today with 1-877 Cars for Kids. We're a recognized 501c3 charity organization, so you'll receive a maximum tax deduction. What's more, you'll receive a vacation voucher of 3 days and 2 nights. Also on the web at carsforkids.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Remember, that's cars with a K.
Say, we'd like to get started.
I talk to you, and you talk to me.
Who are you talking to at this hour?
Mr. Bradley, you better start talking.
Let's start the talking. I could talk all night. My mind is J-talking. Midnight, conversing until the night. All we need is information. Now we got ourselves communication. Always everywhere, and I would rather be here busy than 30, yeah.
Bradley J. Talking, WBZ.
So it's WBZ. We have a bit of a holdover, a couple extra innings. One extra inning with Rob Braxton, who's an internet security guy. We have a couple of folks who had questions or comments. So, Rob, here we go with David in Dorchester. Hi, David.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Rob, I want to ask you a question. Is it possible for YouTube Red to have signed me up for YouTube Red without me having any knowledge of how they got my debit card? I was called a not a credible person one time on this particular phone person here. And he said it wasn't possible. Do you agree with that?
Rob, do you understand what he was saying?
Not precisely. No, something to do with YouTube Red.
Okay,
I got signed up by YouTube Red, but I didn't sign them up. They got my debit card, and I have no idea how they did it. But the lady said, "You notice you haven't had any commercials lately?" And I said, "Yeah." So I just kept with it. But to this day, I have no idea how they got my debit card.
We're going to let him answer that. Listen to the radio. Can people open up accounts in your name?
Yeah, that's called.
And you're on the hook for it.
Yeah, well, it happens all the time. Of course, it's called identity theft.
Right.
And people open up credit cards, but usually it's for their benefit. Why? This is kind of strange in that how does it benefit them unless somebody is sharing your credit card info, meaning sharing the account, YouTube Red.
Yeah. What the heck is YouTube Red, by the way?
I believe that's the paid YouTube, so you can listen to music and such.
Oh, okay.
Without any ads.
Okay.
So it's a paid service. So it's kind of like doing any one of the, like iTunes. What do you call that?
Apple Music.
Apple Music, and
so he might have actually signed up himself and not even realized it. For one thing.
For one, yes, and but it's not actually uncommon for people to buy things using your own credit card. This is very common. And
how do they get your credit card number?
Easy through the emails and any number of places where they steal it from databases, stolen databases of any number of companies that don't really secure them well. It happens all the time.
Okay, so yes, sir, David in Dorchester, it is possible, and you need to report it to your credit card company. I'm sure that it showed up on a certain credit card, and you dispute it.
You dispute it, yeah. He allowed it, so therefore.
Right. I'll dispute at a drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I heard that sometimes if you see a really small amount on your card, it's a test to see if you notice. And then later they'll hit you up like 3 cents or $1 that you don't know, and they'll do that to see if you're paying attention. On the other hand, sometimes when you buy a plane ticket, they'll they'll send through something for $1 just to see if the account works, and they'll charge you the full amount later. So I'm constantly freaking out and calling up the credit card company. We have Linda in Hyde Park. Hi, Linda. What's going on?
Hi, I'm calling about the VPN deal.
VPN, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do and don't believe it, because I think anything, if like say Google wants to, they're going to get anything you want anyway. I have sent off an email and I've seen my IP, but the receiver doesn't get it.
Oh, the receiver does get it. You just don't see it because you don't look at the header. For example,
No, if you click on details, everything shows.
No, you if you have to use it, look at the act. You have to have the kind of software that can actually examine. I wrote my own email software. I wrote emails, servers, and readers, and so on. So I'm very familiar with this.
You know what? I'm going to back up and say, Linda, can you explain again what you mean? Because if I'm not getting it, then I bet a lot of other people aren't.
If you have a laptop there, just for the heck of it,
Yep.
send an email to yourself.
Yep.
When you receive it, click details. It's usually at the very bottom. And you will see your IP.
Even if you're using a VPN.
I believe so. You don't quote me on that.
No, that's not correct. You will not. You will see the IP of the VPN.
Okay, but let me finish my point. I'm not
done yet.
Yeah, there's two.
Because
there's two parts to this.
I flipped out when I saw my IP when I sent the mail. But the receiver does not see it. It'll say MIME, who your carrier is.
Okay, Linda, hold on. You say the receiver at the other end does not see it.
Does not.
And okay, I know that now. We got to let Rob answer. He says it. He says it does.
So the answer to that question is absolutely not correct. The header is fixed. Once the header goes out, it's out there. Now, a lot of email client software like Outlook, etc., don't show it. You have to actually examine the actual file. So the people who are managing the routing of that's how you route the email, is through the IP address that's on there. That's how it's routed. That's how they check for spam. That's how they do all that. So yes,
right, I understand that.
On there.
But if you check details, you will see all the information that it's just.
No, they don't. No, you don't see that. Outlook will not show you that. So you can actually examine the EML file or whatever the format is of the file.
It will tell you MIME standard.
No, that's just that is the.
Okay, if I'm a listener, I'm going to start to tune out because it's getting too complicated.
All right. Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention for the previous caller.
Yeah.
On the YouTube Red.
Yep.
The only way that could have happened, to the best of my knowledge, because I do have a YouTube channel, is if he may have clicked on the little red icon just to see what YouTube Red actually, and then they grabbed him. And
even though he didn't know he was paying?
Even though he didn't know he was paying. If he just clicked on it to look into it out of curiosity, let's see what this is all about with YouTube Red, what is YouTube Red, then they had him married.
So where did they get his credit card number?
Possibly just him browsing it.
All right.
No, it's from the Google account.
Oh.
Many people have Android Google accounts with credit cards on it.
But that's not legit. I mean, they're not supposed to do that. Right, Rob?
It's a little bit of trickery, but they could say, "Wow, we showed you a lot of warnings and you ignored it."
Damn, it's scary out there. Do me a favor, Rob, and
it is.
Would you send me the fastest and best VPN?